What is going on, everybody? Good evening. Happy Saturday night. What is good? Shout out to everybody in the chat so far. We got MLB channel. We got Aiden, JJ, Stephen B. We got Jonathan's up in the place. Who else we got? The MLB channels here. The whole crew is here. What is good, everybody? And we'll get to the comments as well. Just want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat. Yankee Mike is in the place too. I know. I saw the Browns. I was rooting for the Browns over the Texans, man. I'm sorry. G. Gent is in the place too. Stephen B. Brandon's here. What's good? All things Yankees. Peter Risbergs. All right. All right. All right, everybody. What else we got here? Mike Perez. Rock stars here too. Shout out. Hit them likes button. Let's try to get over 100 likes before we're even 5 minutes in here if we can. I appreciate you, gang. Try to set a record today. We'll try to get to 200 likes in the first 20 minutes. So we can do that. That would be epic. David Herrera, Diver JC, Omar, what's good? Yes, Fortrain, my man Maz's up in here. Al Maras, Peanuts here. Michael, Renzo, Kingsley Dining. What is good? What a dude. What a dude. 27 Kings. Cali Yankee fan, John, Vandaminator. Man, we got crew up in here. The whole crew. Dave H. Well, we'll see, gang. Oakley Turner. What's going on, everybody? Dave Eisenberg. So the plan now, as we speak right now, is the Yankees are looking to add one more starting pitcher and a closer. And as of now, Mark Feinsand was reporting tonight that the Frontrunners to potentially finalize a deal with Hector Neris, who was the Astros catcher, who was with the Phillies for a while. He struggled a little bit. He had some control problems when he righted the ship over in Houston, and he's a dominant reliever now. So he's 34, but he's durable. He's a hard thrower. He seems to be riding the ship. So, hey, Carl, what's happening? Coach Carl, that's good. We'll get to that too. We'll get to Snell, Dev. So, as it relates to starting pitchers, I mean, let's go to the Yankees payroll. I went over this yesterday. With the Marcus Strowman addition, the Yankees are at about $306 million on their payroll. And they already have a $48 million luxury tax penalty. So they're essentially at $354 right now. And if they add, let's just say they add Montgomery, and remember, everything over the Cohen threshold, which is $297 million, they're about $7 million over that right now, or $8 million over that. Everything is taxed dollar for dollar over the Cohen threshold. So at this point, they're bringing in Montgomery, let's just say at $25 million a year, that becomes $50. They bring in Snell at 30, that becomes 60. So they'll be over 400 plus for the outlay on either one of those guys. So I find it, I mean, I could be wrong. We'll see what happens, but I find it unlikely that they'll do that, which is why I think a trade for a second starting pitcher, potentially with the Seattle Mariners, probably is a likely fit. But you never know. You never know. And again, they're looking for Hector Neris, potentially, or Robert Stevenson is another one who's familiar with the AL East now that Jordan Hicks is signed with the Giants, who plan on using him in the starting rotation, which is weird, but that's what they said they plan on doing. So I don't know. Democracy matters. I don't work for the Yankees, but like I wouldn't move Will Warren or what do you call it? I wouldn't move Spencer Jones for anybody. Yeah, quickly judging Spencer Jones to Joey Gallo. I mean, I wouldn't listen to those folks. Brandon. I wouldn't. And unfortunately, they're not going to trade Torres to the Marlins for Arraez either. If somehow Arraez came here, it would have to be in a separate trade. Why do I say that? Well, the Marlins did not. I mean, on the arbitration day on, was it yesterday or Thursday? Thursday. He filed at $12 million. The Marlins counted at 10.6, and they couldn't settle. And he's got 2 years of control. So he's going to an arbitration hearing. So is Tanner Scott. So is Jazz Chisholm. So they have 3 guys going to arbitration hearings, the Marlins. Baltimore has 5. So for those that call the Yankees cheap, I would withdraw that statement, or at least retract it, because the Yankees settled with everybody, and they're over $300 million for their payroll right now. So they're definitely not cheap. You don't have to outspend the Dodgers to be successful or win the offseason either. They have addressed their needs so far. So now, Carl, see, this is being proposed too. A mega trade with the Marlins, Arraez and Lazar. I mean, theoretically, that would be a blockbuster of all blockbusters, right? But with that said, the ask is going to be Spencer Jones and probably Chase Hampton and some more. So I don't know. On these channels, good. I don't know that that's going to be a willing pay for the Yankees. I don't know. I really don't know. So they'd have to send a top prospect, absolutely. Several of them, but not the top prospect, Spencer Jones. I can't see it. So a 3-team trade to get Arraez would be crazy. But again, back to the Gleyber Torres, the reason why I don't see the Marlins acquiring Torres for Arraez, because if they couldn't settle with Arraez for 12, they're not going to pay Torres 14. And Torres is a free agent at this year, and if he has a decent year, he's going to make 20 to 25 million per. And if Arraez has a good year, his arbitration is going to be 20 per next year. So, which is why I could see them moving on from Arraez and getting a boatload of young, controlled prospects. The Marlins are cheap, as are the Orioles. So this is probably the time, now that they're listening to offers on him, this is probably the time for the Yankees to go in and say, hey, we have Oswald Peraza here. You can have Everson Pereira. You can have one of our catchers, and at least those 3 guys. And that should at least get the ball rolling on a good start for Arraez. I wouldn't go more than 4 prospects for him. I mean, he's probably one of the best contact hitters in the game. He's also the NL batting champion. So he's definitely going to get paid. And he'll fetch a haul if he's traded. So I do not think the Yankees sign Snell now, Anthony. No, I don't. So only because if let's just say $30 million, because of the tax penalties, his 30 becomes 60 million, just like that. Because again, they're over the Cohen threshold. And for those that haven't heard, the Cohen threshold is 297 million. Any dollar spent over that is taxed dollar for dollar. So if they spend 50 million over it, they got to pay another 50 million in taxes. They're going to spend 100 million. So that's a lot of money. But Arraez, essentially would be, prototypical leadoff hitter. And the way I think, in my opinion, the way to do it is you try to move Torres to Seattle for one of the young, controllable starting pitchers, and you add an Ian Hamilton or somebody like that because they want a relief pitcher too. And then you try to get a guy like Bryce Miller here, or something. And you got your young, controllable starting pitcher who can throw innings. And then you can give some of your other prospects, send them to the Marlins, and you try to get Arraez. Because if the fact is too, and I'll just make this clear. If they keep Torres, I'm fine with that. If they trade Torres and replace him with Arraez, I'm fine with that too. Okay, their offense is still going to be pretty formidable no matter what. But having that extra bat is going to help, no doubt about it. And they're different, players. So Arraez would represent the front of the lineup. Torres represents the middle of it. So, Arraez is a typical contact hitter who can lead off, and he sprays the ball everywhere. Torres is more of a run producer, run manufacturer. And he doesn't have a lot more RBIs than Arraez, but in his defense, he didn't get a lot of RBI opportunities last year with the Yankees. So, but either one of them, which I don't really see the point of comparing the two of them, like one's better than the other. They're different players. So both of them would be beneficial here. But if you can get Arraez, he's got 2 years of control versus free agency for Torres, you try to do that if you can. So, but again, just losing Torres, you have to get value back for Torres, no doubt about it. Let's see. Yankees acquire Luis Reyes. Who's Luis Reyes? You mean Arraez? Acquire Chase Hampton and Oswald Peraza, and Everson Pereira would be a realistic. Hampton, Peraza. I don't know. I don't know that the Marlins would require pitching because they have so much of it. So I don't know if we'd have to give up a Chase Hampton for him. You'd have to give up a Chase Hampton to the Brewers for Corbin Burns. But I can't see the Marlins asking for pitching. I can see them asking for more bats. But I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. You'd have to move 3 or 4. And the fact is, let's just say they add a starter and a reliever. That takes the roster up to 44. They're at 42 right now. So they have to make moves before spring training anyway to get the roster at 40. So they're going to be making more moves because they have to. And if they go up to 44, some of these trades would be multiplayer trades. Like you give a couple guys to the Marlins for Arraez or Edward Cabrera. You give a couple guys to the Mariners for Bryce Miller. So they can easily get back under 40. So to get these guys. And I think I think he has had a cup of coffee at first base. He's a super athlete. He's a super athlete in the outfield. But if he can learn first base, that will be even better. Even better. Because I want to keep Spencer Jones. I would like to have his bat and Dominguez's bat in this lineup. No doubt about it. No. And Arraez is one of the best hitters in the game. There's no doubt about that. No doubt about it. They need to make a move to make Ross a spot, clear Ross spot for Strowman. They need to make clear Ross spot for Luke Weaver as well, who's another guy that they brought in, essentially who can be, can take Domingo Germán's role, can be a spot starter, long reliever, and so on. You can give him some innings. Now, I don't know if Ben Rice is the first baseman of the future just yet, Cali Yankee fan. Don't know yet. Salute CWE. Salute. He's definitely got a lot of promise, Ben Rice. That's for damn sure. That is for sure. So, yeah, I mean, there's going to be some guys, and we need 9 likes to get to 100. All right, let's see if we can get to 100 likes, gang. And again, Crook, Nick Ramirez. There's a couple other guys, but I think the Yankees are going to try to trade first because, they're going to want to get value back in trades, and if they can't get any value back in a trade, then they'll DFA somebody. But at the very least, I would try to trade some of these guys for either competitive balance picks in a draft or international signing money or something like that and get some type of value back for them. So if you can. And there's quite a few names. I have it written down here. 4 or 5 names that could be easily DFA or trade candidates. Matt Crook is one of them. Unfortunately, he hasn't really found his way here. Where are they? Matt Crook. I think it's Nick Ramirez. There's a couple other guys too. There's about 4 or 5 guys that they can easily move on from. And I can even see them trading guys. If they happen to get a Neris, they happen to get a Wandy Peralta back, I can see them moving guys like Loaizaga and Tommy Kahnle to offset some of the salary they bring in. So Marcus Stroman's definitely not going to be. They're not going to trade Marcus Strowman right now. So they're not going to bring him in. And again, look, he wasn't my first pick, but in his defense too, a couple things. He's thrown more than 6 innings 50 times since 2019, so his durability is there. With the exception of his hip injury, his durability is there. And yeah, he's mouthy, okay. But look at there were other Yankees that were mouthy. They were great. Reggie Jackson, mouthy. David Wells, mouthy. Got himself into trouble a lot with his mouth, but he still performed. And if Marcus Stroman comes here and performs, nobody's going to care. So it looks like he's got a chip on his shoulder, and he pitches with a chip on his shoulder. So, and he's going to want them. He's going to want to pitch well here, because if he doesn't, it's going to be a hornet's nest. It's going to be an absolute hornet's nest. So, and I've had Jonathan come and join me here. My man Jonathan, 61 family, to give us your insights here. What are your thoughts, Jonathan, on the Strowman acquisition first?
I mean, I was cautiously optimistic about it, but he had a good season last year, but at the same time, he had a history of being a little bit of a macho, full of himself type person.
There's a lot of guys that have that. Before I cut you off, Wayne, not comparing them. Reggie Jackson had a big mouth.
Yeah, Reggie Jackson. I actually met Reggie Jackson,
and he's cool. He's outspoken. Okay.
He is. this is my experience with Reggie Jackson. I was in Tampa at the gift shop, and it was empty. Just me, Reggie Jackson, my mom, a friend, and two other guys who were with Reggie Jackson. I went up to him, asked for an autograph. He said no before I finished my question.
Wow, look at that. So it wasn't very nice.
And based on what I was telling you, maybe I need to change my virtual background for a second with no background. But this is one of the photo.
Reggie
This is
Jackson,
a photo of Jabba. I told you about.
Phil Hughes, Melky Cabrera, and Robinson Cano.
No.
I'm gonna shut up the Java Chamberlain. But
I
Reggie Jackson's a completely different ball player, but he was outspoken. He got himself trouble with his mouth several times, as did David Wells. So, but they both backed it up with great play. If Strowman does the same thing, all will be forgotten. But I'm not comparing him. I can't compare him to a Hall of Fame hitter, Reggie Jackson. It's not a fair comparison. So
I know, but it's just
it's not.
It's my experience with Reggie Jackson is not very good, and I have met other players. I mean,
David Wells still runs his mouth to this day. DeMarcus Hernandez, yes, he does. I've seen it. He runs his mouth. So, but again, he was great when he was here. And if Strowman does the same thing, nobody's going to care. So just like Reggie delivered, he had a big mouth, but he delivered. I mean, that's all that matters, right? Like I said, if Strowman does the same,
if
Dwayne,
if Strowman comes,
hold on, Jonathan. Let me make this clear, Dwayne. I'm not comparing them. Okay, Reggie has rings. He was part of it. He didn't win the rings himself. He was clutch. We're not comparing him. Okay, I'm going to repeat this again, Dwayne. If Strowman performs, nobody's going to care. Not comparing. It's really hard to compare anybody to Reggie Jackson. He's a Hall of Famer. But, he had a mouth. So that's the bottom line. Strowman has a big mouth. And again, it is what it is. He has backed it up with his performance too. So, but and then it's not. And again, it's not fair to compare him to Reggie Jackson, but it is an easy comparison. So again, they're the same, right? In that regard, they both have mouths. David Wallace got a mouth. Those guys backed it up, and I said again, Dwayne, if Strowman backs it up, nobody's going to care. So when I think it's important to get over this stuff too, and it's important to get over the Yamamoto obsession too.
Yeah. I think I have a feeling that a lot of Yankee fans, they think too much of last year and not enough of next year or this year.
This is the thing. He didn't want to be here.
I mean, that's one thing that I think in Gleyber Torres. I'm all in favor of Gleyber Torres being traded if you can improve the team.
That's the only way I would trade him. Otherwise, he should stay here and part of the team.
Yeah. So if, for example, you trade Torres and trade also for a guy like Arraez, you're replacing Torres with Arraez, and Arraez is a much better player.
Mm-hmm. And Dwayne, Billy Martin also had to deal with Reggie Jackson. Billy Martin didn't pull Reggie off the field for no reason. He didn't do it for fun. There's a reason why Reggie got pulled.
Another big trouble in the 80s was the Yankees were signing all these free agency and they were losing all their number one draft picks.
Yep. That was all George Steinbrenner. So, he led that brigade.
One thing that Gene Michael should have taught everybody is you have to build your team through drafting and signing young players, not through signing big money free agents.
Mm-hmm.
That is the Gene Michael strategy, and it worked very well, as you saw in Derek Jeter.
Yeah. It's just, like Mike Perez too. If he delivers, he delivers. Nobody's going to care. But he has to deliver. Reggie already has delivered, right? Consigliere, what's happening, my man? Wells delivered 2 Wells. I was at his perfect game. It was nothing. It was amazing. So, but David Wells came out with a Babe Ruth hat. Okay? But he took Babe Ruth's hat and tried to wear it on the field, and he got in trouble. So that was a ballsy
How
move.
did
And he
he get Babe Ruth's
was
hat? I don't know. How did he
he
get Babe
bought it
Ruth?
from some memorabilia or something like that. And he tried to wear it in
Really?
a game, and he got in trouble for it. So he didn't run it by Torrey. He didn't run it by anybody. He just tried to do it.
Well,
So
that is.
ballsy. It's ballsy. It's crazy, but it's ballsy.
I mean, Roger Clemens, I heard also could be some sort of a.
What?
I don't know. You told me you met Roger Clemens in
He
a
was,
in a
he was,
bathroom.
he was very nice.
Yeah.
Absolutely pleasant. So I had a good experience, and I mean, I don't know. I can't speak for everybody else, but I had a good experience. He was really nice.
I met Bobby Mercer twice. I met him once. He was walking on the sidewalk in Florida, and I waved. I was in the car waiting for my mom. I rolled down the window and I just yelled out to him, saying, "Hi, Bobby," and he said, "How are you?" in his accent. And then I went to the booth during a
Nice.
Yankee game, and I saw him in the booth in his last year.
Nice. I'll say this too. Been fortunate enough to meet a lot of cool players. But to answer your question too, Carl, I'm not really worried about Rizzo. He's healthy. He's 100%. I saw footage of him taking batting practice today in the cage. He looked good. He looked crisp. He's also working with Aaron Judge's hitting coach, as is Spencer Jones, their top prospect, to cut down on the strikeouts. So, it's so to answer your question, Carl, I'm not as worried about it. Would I like I'd like to have assurances that DJ's healthy because he could back up third and first. So I hope he stays healthy in case Rizzo doesn't pan out. But, this is Rizzo's final year here. He has an option for 25, which I think will be exercised. They have other guys waiting in the wings beyond that.
Do you think they're going to go after Murakami?
I don't know. If Spencer Jones pans out, no. They won't need to.
No. Because
Murakami can play third base too. He can play third base as well. Murakami.
Yeah,
So
third base is another.
Yeah. And Fortran too. The Strowman deal's warming up to me too. Like, we were kind of shell shocked. It wasn't our first choice, but people were so on a Yamamoto overdose because we were fed by a couple of people that it's either Yamamoto or it's a failure of a season or it's the dumpster dive. That's what we keep hearing from people. And he hasn't thrown a single pitch in the major leagues yet. So
what do you think Austin Wells' role in the next year going to be?
He's probably a starting catcher, or at the very least platoon with Trevino.
If he shows to be a better bat, he might. Yeah, he could be a starting catcher behind and like platoon with Trevino.
He could be.
Because Trevino, it's very hard to replace Trevino being a platinum glove now?
Yeah.
A platinum glove, and it's very hard to replace a platinum glove defense. But if you have a guy who can play near gold glove, I don't know what Wells' glove is like, but if he can play a solid glove and hit for 280, play every day.
He's got a better bat than Trevino. So, and with that, but you never know.
He one of the first. He also was a former first-round draft pick of the Yankees. So
yes, he was.
He was taken the year before Volpe.
Yep, he was. Again, the Yankees have a lot of positional depth, which they can deal from. So, but I think Rizzo's going to be fine. The Strowman deal is definitely favorable for the Yankees in terms of the money and his vesting option, where he has to prove that he's durable. So, but we need Carlos Rodon to come back up and be a number 2. We need Strowman to be in his place too. And again, I could still see them adding a controllable starting pitcher, probably from the Mariners. So
the Mariners seem like a very good trading partner.
Yeah,
I would think they're probably the number 1 trading partner at this point, if not.
They need infield help and relief help. We have depth in both of those positions for them. So this is why I said, like, a team Gleyber Torres represents a win now bat for them, which they need. They've already traded for 2 outfielders. A Gleyber Torres and maybe an Ian Hamilton would probably get us close to Bryce Miller.
Yeah, because I honestly, the biggest reason I should say I trade Torres is I do not see him on this team after this year. And if the Yankees want to let him to get something out of Torres, I much prefer to trade him rather than give him a qualifying offer.
Yep. I mean, yes, if you can get pitching value from him, like a guy like Miller or something, that's better than what you're going to get for a qualifying offer, two draft picks. So,
I mean, 2 draft picks are always helpful, but good quality talent that and you've seen is better.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, and again, it would give them another reliable innings eater here. Yeah. And at the same time, it would be, they'd be conscious of the payroll because, I said, like adding $30 million for Blake Snell or $25 million for Jordan Montgomery puts their outlay over $400 million. I can't see them doing that.
So what do you think? What do you think is the next step for starting pitching, at least?
A trade for a starting pitcher, controllable starting pitcher.
Trade, because they probably need multiple starting pitchers that can go at least 5-6 consistently.
Yeah, I mean, I think Kirby's going to cost too much. In all honesty, Sean, that's why I think Bryce Miller is probably the easier get. Colonel Frank, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. Soto, Verdugo, Strowman. Yeah, Neris would be first 2. Yeah, you got that right, Colonel Frank. Amen to that, man. Thank you again for the super chat. I appreciate that. I don't think Snell's coming. I don't think Monty's coming.
No, Snell. First of all, you have to remember Snell is gonna. You have to give up 2 draft picks and international signing money, and according to they I don't even know who else is available for the international signing bonus. But
we'll know on Monday. The signing day starts Monday.
So I'm guessing next week the Yankees are going to be very aggressive with all that money they saved from not signing Yamamoto. Even though they're not favored to sign anybody big, according to what I read on Baseball America, there might be changes now that the Yankees are involved.
Yeah. But remember, the money that they would have spending on Yamamoto is not tied to the international money. It's completely different.
I thought it was because Yamamoto was under a certain age.
The Japanese, no, he hit the 25-year criteria. He's 25. So at that point, you're no longer amateur, which the international players are. Once you hit 25, as it pertains to Japanese players, you're eligible for an MLB contract, pro MLB contract. So, right, he could start at the MLB for the Dodgers on day 1, which he likely will. These international.
I think I remember you mentioned at one point they let some of the big international signings go somewhere because they were trying to get more money for Yamamoto. I don't remember.
I didn't say that. There were a couple other guys that said that.
Maybe that's what was confusing me. I must have heard it on.
No, they were saying they were trying to save it for Roki Sasaki.
Well, that's another year. So
I'm not even buying to them Roki. It's a waste of time talking about him until he comes here.
No, I don't. As of now, I don't think we should bring up another Japanese player until after the World Series is over.
I'll make this clear to folks that don't know. His team is not required to post him early. Just because he has a so-called clause in his contract doesn't mean the team has to post him early. Okay? The team would be walking away from tens of millions of dollars in posting fees. Why would they do that?
Ohtani got lucky.
Yeah, and then, this guy, Roki Sasaki, would be subject to the 6 years. He'd have to go 3 years of pre-arb and 3 years of arb before he even get to free agency. Right now, if he just waits 2.5 years or 3 years until he's 25, it's a quicker path to the majors for him to get paid.
Yeah.
So
So it's beneficial for both the team and himself to wait
yes,
2 years until he turned 25.
posting early makes 0 sense. 0. And I don't care what people say. Oh, he throws 102. There's dozens of guys in the majors that throw 102. Roll
And
this check.
there have been people that throw 102 and don't play out very well.
Yeah,
Throwing hard throwing hard means nothing if you cannot control your pitches.
yeah.
Control is what makes a baseball pitcher successful, not speed.
JJ, if he had a clause in his contract, the team would be bound by law. Has to. Yeah. You know what that means? He doesn't have a clause in his contract because he asked to be posted in last month, and they didn't post him. If they were bound by law, they would have had to post him, right? They didn't. So you just made the point. Thank you, JJ. If there was a clause in his contract, they'd be bound to post him early, and they didn't. Otherwise, they'd be in trouble. There is no requirement to post him early. 0.
Yeah. So I don't expect a Japanese team to post their number one pitcher early and lose all that money.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
business wise, it doesn't make any sense.
Forgets his act. This is why we don't spend days and days talking about this guy all the time. So I just say it now. Let's just forget about it until he actually gets posted. Victor Gonzalez is a lefty. He's basically Juan D on the cheap. And there's talks tonight that they could, they're front runners for Hector Neris, according to Mike Feinsand. Yeah. And this talks that they could bring in Wandy Peralta too tonight. So,
would you want Wandy back?
I mean, I wouldn't be offended if he came back.
No,
but they're going to have to move because the fact is, like, whoever they add at this point, the roster's at 42 right now, so they have to clear 2 spots already. If they bring in Neris, that's 43. If they bring in Wandy, that's 44. If they sign a starting pitcher, that's 45. They have to.
Well, one guy I think is definitely gone is Crook. Crook is
Crook, probably Nick Ramirez, probably, and there'll be some trades too.
Yeah, there has to be some trades in my opinion. I don't see the Yankees go into February without making one more trade, minimum.
Well, maybe 2. Like if you trade for a Bryce Miller or a Brian Wu, you have to send multiple players. If you trade for Luis Arraez, you have to send multiple players.
And the Yankees also have to consider that next year they will have Rule 5 eligible draft players as well.
Yeah.
And apparently everybody loves the Yankees farm system. So trade from your excess prospects and get a good player back, or else you risk losing them for nothing.
Yeah, at the 4 trains point too. Yankees upgraded their team in more ways. Thank you. If they didn't spend money, again, you don't have to spend to get better all the time. The Yankees traded and got way better. A couple times and got way better. Their first signing was Luke Weaver, the first guy they signed, and then was Marcus Strowman. So just because the Dodgers get Ohtani and Yamamoto guarantees him nothing. And to answer your question, I think JJ asked it, I don't know if Roki Sasaki is better than Yamamoto. I don't care either. Yamamoto's not proven yet. Not in the major league. So I really don't care. And he's not a Yankee. And when he comes here, hope the Yankees pound him. And the Dodgers are coming to New York in June. I hope they pound him. And Nick Ramirez is
maybe in June I'll look at getting some tickets, man, just to see the Yankees and the Dodgers, because the last time I saw a Yankee Dodger game in Yankee Stadium was probably 2016.
Wow. Well, I've already asked my ticket guy to see if I can get tickets.
I went to Los Angeles 2 years ago, and I went with my sister to a Dodger game.
Very cool. Cool stadium.
Yes, it's a very cool stadium. I actually think it was 2 years ago, 2 summers ago, and it was I enjoy that stadium. The big problem for me with the new Yankee Stadium, the biggest problem is they pump so much artificial noise in between at bats.
Where
in the new Yankee Stadium compared to the old Yankee Stadium, the noise, you hear it so loud that it's hard to sometimes it's hard to concentrate on the game. You know how they pump it. Yes, but apparently the new Yeah, apparently the new stadium, at least I can hear it much more, and it almost gives me a headache. And that's one thing if I were to go more stadiums, I wouldn't mind them cooling that down a little bit. You don't need to pump up the team every time there are 2 strikes.
I hear you. Diver JC, who are you talking about? Our trash. Who are you referring to, Diver JC? I mean, they probably have to give
Torres.
You probably have to give Torres not going to the Marlins.
But Torres still has some trade value. He's not complete trash.
No, he's not. But he's not going to go to the Marlins because they're not going to pay him. They're not going to pay Arraez. They're not going to pay Torres. So
it says Luis Arraez send those unwanted, not needed players. That's what JJ said above this comment. I don't know what that means.
Send those unwanted, not needed players to the Marlins. I mean, Oswald Peraza, JJ, it'll probably be Everson Pereira, probably a catcher, at least those 3, because they need a shortstop, they need an outfielder, and they need a catcher. You'd be giving them pretty much 20 years of team control for Arraez, almost 20 years, right? And then you'd have some other, maybe a George Lombard or something like that.
Yeah. I actually think George Lombard could eventually get traded because I think they're very high. They're very high on
Arraez.
Arraez.
Yep, he's behind Neris.
So I believe Lombard either this year or next year will eventually get traded.
I think so too.
The Yankees have too many infielders and outfielders in their system. They need to trade some of them, or they will get lost in the Rule 5 draft for nothing.
Yep. And it really depends on Aaron. Our pleasure, man. My pleasure to do consistent content, man. It's important to me that you folks get up-to-date and accurate information and both sides of the story so you can make your own decisions. Whatever your decisions are your decisions.
Yeah.
I
think everything that's talked here is our opinions and what we think the Yankees should do. They don't have to listen to us. We don't get paid by the Yankees.
But we're also basing our opinions on facts.
Yes.
Not talking points from other people. Beat writers from talking points from other channels.
Right.
Don't do that. And again, like I tried not, this is what I like to say, like, I hope they do this. This is what I hope they do. This would be a good idea, blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't generally like to get in the business of this is what they should do. Because again, like you said, we don't work for them. Who would they listen to us? Like, who am I to tell them what they should do? So.
No,
But we'll see. I mean, like, I don't know. Matthew, what's happening, man? What's happening? Lombard does profile better, third diver, JC. Yeah, so we have options. Like Lombard, if he stays, he could go to third. DJ's got 3 more years left. So it gives Lombard enough time to develop. And, when I say at some point Judge transitioning to DH, my timeline is once Stanton's contract is up in 4 years, that's the point where I will move Judge to DH when he has 5 years left on his deal. 4 years left on his deal.
Yeah. But here's the problem. What do we really do with Stanton going forward? I mean, after this year,
I mean, I guess they'll take it on a day by day, but like they're not going to DFA him right now with $98 million.
And also, they can't. They really don't. They're going to lose $30 million from the Marlins if they DFA him, because starting next year, not 24 but 25. Marlins are paying $10 million per year of his contract.
It's true.
Starting in 25. So it's
you're the man, dude. My concierge.
He's an expensive bench player.
He is. So, but he's healthy right now. I just saw him mashing some baseball in batting cages the other day. So, and on the field, so he looks pretty good. And he's leaned out quite a bit. He lost maybe 20 pounds so far. So he looks pretty lean. He still looks like a Hulk on the upper body. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, well, as long as he can.
Appreciate you, Ollie. Thank you.
As long as he can get on base and not strike out as much as he did last year, I think the Yankees will benefit.
I do too.
I hope that the new hitting coach will have them be very uncomfortable with striking out.
I mean, I hope so too. And they have the new assistant hitting coach who has ties with Juan Soto, so there's a lot of a lot of experience coming in.
And I would expect Juan Soto to help Jason Dominguez very much. And you have Jason Dominguez under Juan Soto's wing. How good could Jason Dominguez be in the future?
Could be very good.
You basically have Soto to Dominguez.
Maz, I said
you could have the next Mantle Maris in 61.
You could. Corbin Burns for Clark Schmidt, Gleyber Torres. I don't know if the Brewers need Gleyber Torres. A top prospect.
I honestly don't see Burns being traded.
Yeah, you might have to wait until his free agent. He's only 29 right now, so you might have to wait until he's a free agent after the season.
Yeah, if the Yankees go get more money, I don't think it will be $30 million. It could be probably a 10 or a lower level amount than a $30 million contract or a $20 million contract.
Who's that? Burns?
How much is Burns making?
Burns 16 in arbitration. He's not going. If he has a good year, he's not going to get a penny less than $30 million. If Blake's not $30 million, Burns is not going to get less than $30 million.
So, but I do not see Burns coming to the Yankees unless, look, Burns, just take a trade scenario for Burns. What do you think he would cost? Probably Jones.
Nah, I mean, I would not move Jones for 1 year of anybody.
I don't want Jones, but they would ask for Jones. They might ask for Arraez. They probably would ask for Warren.
I would be willing to give up Chase Hampton, but not Will Warren. So he's probably Hampton's. This is the only person I think I would trade Chase Hampton for.
I mean, and I honestly think Will Warren could be the number 5 starter out of spring training. That's my.
Well, he's gonna get invited to spring training, and so is Hampton. So, and if they make
Beater as well,
and Clayton Beater, so they'll be in the rotation. Hampton I think is at AA right now, so he's a little bit behind these guys, but he's got one of the most highly rated. He's got the best rated fast system too.
I would expect Hampton to come up mid-season. And
Hampton's got a nasty repertoire of pitches. So I mean, they're very highly rated prospects.
And
we haven't had pitchers rated this high in a while. Like Spencer Jones he grades out at a 9 for the speed and power scale. He grades out higher than Jason Dominguez does. In almost every category.
Would you keep Nestor Cortez in the rotation or put it in the bullpen?
Nope. Long relief.
Yeah, that's what I would do. He proved last year that he's not built for 150 to 200 innings.
Nope.
He's not.
I would have him make a spot starter being long relief.
I'd have him take Michael King's place.
Yeah, exactly.
He's basically a long relief Michael King.
Yep. And
we need a guy who can replace King. We have Cortez who can do it. So it's a perfect fit.
We can't prove this, CWE. The fact is he's rated higher than Dominguez in almost every category. So no matter what he did, Dominguez could turn into Kevin Moss, who was like a 1-month wonder for the Yankees, and they fizzled out. So I wouldn't compare the two of them just yet. Just why, and I'm not going to buy into Dominguez hype just yet either. He had 2 great weeks. I'm looking forward to seeing him again, but I'm not going to rate him as the next Mickey Mantle just yet.
The other thing I've been following is the Hall of Fame ballot count, and currently there are 4 players that are above the 75 mark, with 1 player at near 75.
Mm-hmm.
So,
is that Billy Wagner?
Billy Wagner is currently above 75. Gary Sheffield at 74.5.
He's right
and
there.
Andrew Jones at 71.3. Carlos Beltran at 67.5.
All right. Jones, yes, he's rated higher than Dominguez. This is not my scale; it's the actual rated scale, the power speed scale. Come on, what, Craig? What do you mean? So, there's no. This is why I don't buy into the hype and all this stuff, right? It's unfair expectations to put on these players.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think Jones will cut his strikeouts down.
He's working with Aaron Judge's hitting coach, so he's
But
working.
that's what CWE is mentioning.
He said he's only in Double-A. He was drafted like 4 years after Jason Dominguez. Dominguez has been in the system for 5 years already.
He was signed as an international free agent, not drafted.
Yeah, in like 2018, something like that. So
yeah, I believe it was the same year as Volpe.
For who?
They got Dominguez in the same year as they drafted Volpe in 2018.
Something like that. Yeah, but he's been here for 5 years. So Jones has been here for 1 year. He's already in Double-A. And he's also got he had 3 years, and Mazur attest to this. He was 3 years playing at Vanderbilt, one of the best college programs in the country.
Yep.
So he is well versed and ready for the next step. So he'll get invited to spring training. And don't be surprised if he makes the team. He does.
Because if he has a spring like Dominguez had last year, don't be surprised at all if they say, "Hey, here's your ticket to the majors. It just got punched."
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jones is the first bat on the Scranton train that comes up if there is a need for a bat in the lineup, and he's lefty, which was worked well in Yankee Stadium.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the one thing that I dislike that the Yankees did in the last couple of years. They got rid of their strength, which is lefty bats in Yankee Stadium. You cannot win with a right-handed bat in Yankee Stadium. Complete right-handed lineup.
Michael, it's a good question. Where do you think he's getting innings from? Well, this is why I've talked about long relief for like a year now, right? So I've been pushing for Nestor Cortez and Luis Hill in long relief for this particular reason, right? If we only get 150 innings from certain pitchers, Cole is a bulldog, right? And there's not many pitchers that average 200 innings a year. There's only a handful of them. Cole's one of them. Dylan Cease is one. But if you look at it, you're not going to find many. So, but
Cole's also the last of a dying breed. I mean,
he is.
We don't see pitchers going 7-8 innings every start. We don't see pitchers going 9 innings, and we don't even see pitchers striking out 200 guys a year anymore. It's not a thing. He's the last of a dying breed.
Mm-hmm.
And why do you think that had become where there had been much less 20-game winners and much less 200 strikeout pitchers?
All the analytics and how we need to do matchups and that's enough already. The analytics, and I've said this before, Jason, you can attest to this. I've said the analytics are killing the game, and that's why we don't see guys go deep into games because they have statistics that say, well, after the third time around, he gets beat up a lot. Okay, well, guess what? That's part of the game.
Just remember that reminds me of a game last year where they took out Jamon in the 8th inning when he was pitching a no-hitter or a one-hitter, and they lost the game.
Yeah.
That should never happen. I mean, in my opinion, that decision was a fireable offense by Boone, at least for me.
Craig Smith, Kevin Moss was a stiff. You're right, but he was also hyped as the next big thing after Don Mattingly, and he came in and had a monster month, and then he fizzled out. This is why I use Jason Dominguez as the comparison here, because
I think they also had JT Snow at the same time.
JT Snow, and I'm not saying Dominguez isn't legit. He had a good 2 weeks. Can't take that away from him, but he's got to come back and do it again. And he's got to be consistent. So
they need to give Dominguez the same chance they gave Volpe. Have him on the mound for the whole year, and then you'll know what he is about.
If you're gonna ride with Oswald Peraza, you got to give him the same chance you give Volpe.
Yep.
You're gonna ride with Dominguez, you got to give him the same chance. You have to.
If not, then trade him because you don't want to keep guys around and then keep putting them through that cycle of, oh, we're going to send you down, then you're going to come up, and then you're going to go down and then come up, because that's how you ruin a kid's career. I mean, look at Florial and look at Andujar. Andujar was the year that Ohtani won the Rookie of the Year, which it should have been Andujar's. Look at that year, and then look every year after that. He just completely fell off the map.
Yeah, I wonder why that is, though.
And JJ, to your point, what if Marcus Strowman starts the bad mouthing all the Yankees content creators? I doubt he'll do that.
I don't think
he'll go at the people who trash him. And
I honestly don't think all these baseball players spend an hour on YouTube just looking at the people that badmouth them. They'll be wasting their time and their energy.
Yeah. Just like Cashman doesn't entertain these morons who badmouth him all the time. Okay? He doesn't care. So, but again, if he does, maybe they'll reprimand him. But again, could I blame him for calling out people trashing him every day? No, I wouldn't call him out for it. So if it's justified, what am I going to do? What am I going to do?
It's justified. You can't do anything. And, you brought something up earlier in the stream, which was, about how you had piggybacked off the comment I said earlier, which was how the Yankees improved without spending money. Look at what they've done. The only bit of money they spent on were the arbitration guys and Marcus Strowman.
Yep.
But they also traded for Cody Morris and a bunch of other smaller names to add to that bullpen.
Yep.
And they have plugged up the holes that they've had in more than ways than one, and they haven't spent nearly half as much as what the Dodgers have. And the Dodgers still have holes that they got to fill. And it sounds like they're on the verge of getting Neris too, which is going to be a great piece for them.
The Dodgers?
No, the Yankees.
Oh, the Yankees, yeah.
I think the one guy I think they're going to drop when Strowman makes the roster is probably Crook.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't see
a couple other guys.
I don't see Crook on this team next year.
I see guys. I mean, again, I see guys. Some guys getting DFA'd, and then, but I think they're going to try to trade these guys for some international signing money or competitive balance picks or something like that. They'll try to get something. And
if I was the GM, I would try to trade for a competitive balance pick, because it would make up for some of the money I lost last year when they signed Rodon.
Yeah,
they lost.
They're paying this year 2 picks and $1 million international money, which they're paying this year. They're losing 2 picks in this year's draft.
In regards to that, with what Jonathan was saying about the compensation picks, that's a good idea, but I don't know who would be willing to do that. So you would have to find a team that would be willing to. Also,
teams that are under the 40 man.
Also, to your point, Jason, with the starting pitching, you put out something earlier about the Yankees and Seattle hooking up for a deal. I see it either being Bryce Miller or Brian Wu. I think it's going to be one of those two, because I don't think they're going to give up Gilbert or Kirby.
I don't think so either. And to Carl's question, he's right. Dominguez, this is similar to the Bryce Harper situation, right? There's a reason why they didn't play Bryce Harper in the field when he came back from Tommy John. They DH'd him for the year because they didn't want him throwing. They didn't want him re-injuring his arm, right? And this is the same applies to Jason Dominguez. They don't want him to get hurt again. They want him to get healthy so he could heal, so that he can hit first and then transition back out to the field. So this is very reminiscent of the Bryce Harper situation. Steals in the house, man. What's good, brother? And again, why did Strowman take less money for the Cubs? I have no idea, JJ. Gotta ask him. But yeah, he took. I mean, he wanted to be here, first of all, and look at the Yankees offered Blake Snell 5 years, 150, turned it down, and now as of today, Scott Boras is asking for 9 years, 270 million now. Blake Snell. I don't know anybody who's going to do that.
No one. I think Boris is overpricing his player.
Yeah, a lot. So Strowman, I mean, they were like, he once he turned down the offer, which he did, Blake Snell. The Yankees brought in a starting pitcher because they wanted to get somebody in here to add to the rotation. So
Honestly, if Boris was a little smarter, he could have negotiated a little bit more with the Yankees and got a deal for Snell. Now I think he's going to have to settle for a lower price.
yeah, probably. He's not getting 9 years, 270.
No. He's not gonna. He's not getting. I don't think he's getting 35 million a year.
35? No, I can't see that. I could see him getting 30 though. I could see him getting 30.
To me, 5 for 150 was more than reasonable. But what do we know?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. But I understand he's coming off the Tommy John, so they're gonna want that extra year or two. I get that.
Who's coming off of Tommy John?
What's that? I'm sorry, coming off of Cy Young.
Who's coming off of Tommy John? You said.
Well, Blake Snell's coming off of Cy Young, not Cy
Cy Young. Yeah, you said Tommy. I heard Tommy John.
What do you call it? Jason Dominguez coming up from.
Yes. I see this.
Yeah, I mean, Boris definitely took an L this offseason, CW. Yes, he did. 100%, man.
Yeah, maybe Boris doesn't have the swag he used to.
And Boris is also 70, so he's getting down to the end of it too.
Well, look, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he retired within 5 years.
Yeah.
Boris has done this for how many years now? Over 30?
Yeah, and he's the best. He's the best guy.
Yeah.
Someone is going to replace him.
He can retire with a generation's worth of money, so he's going to be fine. So, and Mr. Kovac, a lot of this team is primed for a bounce back. I mean, Rizzo, Stanton. I mean, DJ. I expect Volpe to take the next step forward in his development. I expect Austin Wells to take the next step in his development too. So, I see, some progress here.
Aiden, I think they're gonna have to re-sign Soto. You don't make that type of deal and not re-sign Soto.
Agreed.
Yep. Which is why I don't see them signing Snell now. After Strowman, I can't see Snell coming here.
No.
There's no way.
I mean, that was the one benefit of not signing Yamamoto is you have enough money now to sign Snell to Soto and you have no reason not to sign Soto.
No, that's right. Damn,
because remember, I think a couple of years ago, Cashman made all this reasons why they wouldn't sign this big free agent that everyone wanted, and it was all, and he got someone else that was not as good. I forget the player's name.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was 2 seasons ago. We probably talked about it 2 years ago.
I don't remember how.
Yeah, it was the off season before Rodon, before last off season.
I got to think about that. I don't remember who.
I don't remember.
Soto. I mean, I think Scott Boras is going to try to match Ohtani, $700 million.
He's probably going to want close to $700 million.
But he's got a case for it, though. He's 5 years younger.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if Soto has to have also an MVP type season to get $700 million.
Yeah, he'll have to have a good season. You're right about that.
But I think he'll have a better season than he did last year because Yankees Stadium is built for lefties.
Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah. And I can't see Soto getting a dime under $600 million.
No.
No.
If he wins the MVP, he probably will get 7.
Yeah, he probably would. Bill's concerned why Neris, why they need one more starter. I think they're going to get Neris and a starter. If they get Neris, I think they'll get another starter too. Via trade. We talked about this, via trade.
And I said that the team that doesn't get Neris is going to pivot right to Stevenson.
Yeah. Whoever doesn't get Neris is going to pivot to Robert Stevenson. You have 2 big arms here. Okay? And they'll trade for a controllable starter, which would not bludgeon their payroll. Right? So, yes, they're over the 40-man right now, that Brother Bill, by 2. They have to clear 2 spots right now. Neris makes it 43. A starting pitcher makes it 44. So, but, like I said before, if they trade, let's just say they trade for a Mariners pitcher, they're going to wind up giving 2 or 3 players. any trade they make is going to be most likely a multiplayer trade, and there's going to be other guys that are going to be either traded for prospects or DFA to put them up, take them off the 40 man. So,
Jason, would you do this? Peraza, Pereira, Agustin Ramirez, and Ben Rortvedt for Edward Cabrera?
Isn't Augustin Ramirez a catcher?
He is.
yes.
Well, why would Marlins want 2 catchers?
They could flip one for another bat, another infield bat.
I would think in that case you'd have to switch one of the catchers with a different position, maybe a pitcher.
Yeah.
Then you don't.
You're giving him 2 out. You're giving them 2 outfielders and 2 catchers.
No.
NFB.
I said Peraza, Pereira,
Oh, and
Rortvedt.
Yeah, one infield, one outfield, and catcher. That's it. Addressing 3 positions of need for them.
Yeah,
So,
I
think
would assume they won the pitcher.
Why? They have plenty of pitching.
they have plenty of pitching depth.
Really?
They need infield help.
They have like 4 guys on the trading block, 4 starters.
Yep.
Have more guys coming. So Sandy,
Yeah, I haven't looked at their minor league system in a while.
their system is deep in pitching.
They're loaded.
Are coming back. They've got a lot of arms.
They don't need half those arms, but they just happen to get lucky and get those arms. So.
Nelson, if the Dodgers get Snell, who cares? That doesn't guarantee them a World Series.
And it still doesn't plug up the holes that they already have.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I keep saying this, and people don't. And Jason, you've heard me say it. Jonathan, you've heard me say it. NFE's heard me say it. The Dodgers still have holes that they need to fill, and they're not doing it. They're worrying about one position, and that's it.
Johnny, to your response, if the Yankees were panicking, they would have given Snell $200 million already.
Yeah, the Yankees are not in panic mode. I think it's the last time they were in panic mode, they signed Ellsbury.
Yeah, the fans are in panic mode.
The fans are in panic mode. The fans are always in panic mode when the Yankees don't win or when they make
or if they're not spending.
We don't know what's going behind the scenes. I'm sure there is something cooking behind the curtain.
And then they want to go ahead and say, "Oh, well, the Steinbrenners and Cashman are cheap." They've been far from that this offseason. So let's get one thing perfectly clear: they have been far from cheap this year. They have made moves. They have spent some money, not a lot of money, but they have spent some money, and they've already drastically improved this team more than what the Dodgers have. And I don't want to hear anyone say that the Dodgers have improved more than the Yankees because it's far from the truth. Great, they got Yamamoto. Great, they got Ohtani. Great, they got Glasnow. Great, they got Margot, but that still does not plug up the other positions that they need help with. You're not going to play Betts every day. He's going to have to DH, so you're going to have to take Ohtani out because he's not going to pitch or play the outfield. Freeman is the same exact situation. So it's something that Yankee fans like to say that we're cheap, but we're really not.
Mazda, did you see the picture I showed earlier in the stream?
What picture?
Yeah,
Oh,
JJ.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be JJ Bauer would be the panic move signing. A panic move signing.
Yeah.
Yes,
it
he would.
It was a picture of Jabba with
So would Hader.
and
be a
Cano and Melky.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that was.
I wouldn't say desperation move. Just because Joel Sherman calls it that, I wouldn't say that. It was a pivot move. They didn't want to pay. They got rejected by Blake Snell, so they pivoted to Strowman. So, I don't necessarily agree with the desperation move. No.
It was a team-friendly deal. That's all I can tell you. That's why I'm warming up to it.
I'm not unhappy with that. With a low, I think of it as a low-cost, low-reward deal.
Yeah.
And it was only 2 years.
With an option for a third that he would only get if he reached 140 innings in 25.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's a very low risk. And
Very
if he pitches well next year, he probably has some trade value.
Yeah, it could. I don't know if they
So
will.
what if he wins 15 games next year? The Yankees feel like they have another young pitcher like Hampton or Warren that's better, and they want to trade him to another team.
Secondhand, I would stay away from Bauer at this point. There's too much baggage there.
Yeah.
They still have active investigations and active court cases going on. And we have guys like Cortez and Luis Hill that we have here guys here already that can act as long relief. So Bauer would,
The Yankees didn't want Herman. They're not going to want Bauer. Bauer is a nice thought on paper, but in reality, he's not,
yeah, I mean,
especially in New York.
and I'm not doubting Bauer's talent. He's talented, no doubt about it. He hasn't pitched in majors for years.
Okie dokie, fine.
Plus, I don't think Bauer has faced major league batters in 3 years, so you never know what he's going to do.
Yep, striking out dudes on YouTube is not the same as striking out dudes in the majors.
Well, anybody can go to a cage and strike out guys on a video.
Yep.
Swinging against amateur bats is a lot different than pitching against a major league hitter.
JJ, because first of all, there's active investigations. So if he gets somehow charged for something, middle of the season, the Yankees bring him in and they bypass other pitchers, then they're screwed because they didn't get anybody else, and they'll be out of Bauer. And again, the distraction that he could potentially, the headache he could potentially bring here, it doesn't matter if his convictions. I'm glad he doesn't have convictions, but the drama and the baggage that he would bring in here, if anything would make it more difficult to re-sign Soto, it could be something like that. And it's the last thing I want to do.
Yeah, you don't want to annoy Soto. That's the last person you want to, because you don't want him to be like, oh well, you brought me in and now you're bringing this baggage in. I don't need that.
Yeah,
that's another reason why the Yankees will be very careful. They're gonna try to give themselves the best position to re-sign Soto.
Yep. Hey, Jason, I'm gonna run.
All right, man.
But thanks for having me on.
Coming on, dude.
I will keep following this Neris story. If anything breaks, I'll let you know.
Sounds good, my man.
All right, bro.
Good, man.
Bye.
Peace, man. Doesn't Bauer have what? More than one more? Yes, he does. He has multiple allegations against him right now. That's a headache. This is not something that the Yankees want to be answering questions on, right? This is not something Boone wants to answer questions, and because again, this isn't like Cincinnati. New York, the microscope is 10 times bigger than it is anywhere else. So if he does or says anything wrong, or that rubs somebody the wrong way, it's going to get amplified by 1,000,000%. Look how many people are here talking about him already.
Yeah,
He's already drawing attention.
New York. If one person starts a rumor, it's known on the 10 o'clock news.
Yes, is Bauer going back to? He's in Japan now, I think, right, Benji? So, I don't know. I mean, if you got a major league shot, okay, that's cool. I just don't think it's the right fit in New York.
Yeah. One other thing, we got 196 likes on this stream.
Oh, we need 4 to get to 200.
To 200.
Let's hit that like button if you haven't done that yet. I thank you so much for it. Would I consider Juan Soto a generational player if he bats 260? Yeah, I would. Because he has a career 400 on base percentage. Okay. And
when looking at Soto, I think you should look beyond the batting average. You should look more on the on base percentage. I mean,
on base percentage.
If you followed Gene Michael, he was the first guy, I believe, who came up with the idea of signing players based on their on base percentage more than their batting average.
Mm-hmm.
He was the original guy came up with Moneyball.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But yes, I would consider him, and OPS as well. Yeah, I consider him a generational player, and he's got more under his belt already at 25 than most everybody else has at 25. So, yeah, I don't think Monty's interested in the reunion. So,
Your guest looks like Matt Olson.
you look like Matt Olson, dude.
Me?
This is
I look like Matt Olson?
You look like Matt Olson from the Braves, man.
Well, I wish I could. I wish I could get hit and get paid like Matt Olson. Also,
Yeah. People tell me I look like Cashman, so almost
well,
every
maybe we're having a 2004 draft here, and
yeah, maybe.
I'm meeting Brian Cashman for the first time. Man, no, Matt Olson wasn't drafted in 2000.
Neutralized Judge and Soto a back-to-back walk. Look at all the guys they have after them. So, not really. They can't really do that, JJ.
No.
Not anymore.
One thing to remember is the current Yankee farm system is the most. Has the most potential of the farm system in what 30 years.
Yep, it's the deepest the farm has been in a while, and a lot of high-end prospects.
So yes, there's a lot of high-end prospects, and I'm sure a lot of guys will get called up because, as we said earlier, there's always someone that gets hurt.
Yep, always. By the way, we got 7 subs in this live stream, so thank you so much. And if anybody hasn't subbed to the channel, you enjoy the content, please do. I appreciate it. And we're on the road to 30,000. I'm going to try to get to 30,000 subs this year. So
maybe. What is your goal by spring training in terms of subs?
Spring training is only about a month away. I would like to get 21,000. I'd like to get 21,000. I'm at 20,373 right now. So 627 subs I'd like to get before spring training.
I can when I look on YouTube, it only shows the 0.3. It doesn't show the exact number. I don't know how to look up
the only I can look at that.
Yeah, that's what I would assume because you own the stream.
Yep. Secondhand, yeah. People say I look like Cashman. I mean, whatever.
I need to get a haircut, and then I'll be more of a Yankee player. I think my hair's length would be too long for the current Yankees anyway.
Consigliere's on here, JJ. Joe, my Consigliere's on here. Any new signings and rumors? Garen, there's a rumor tonight that the Yankees are the front runners for Hector Neris for the closer position. And shout out to Australia, by the way, Garen. And down on the people from the side of the world on here. I love it. I love it.
There's just a post that's right now that just posted by Bobby Malone 34 seconds ago, and I don't know if it means anything. It says seems like what?
The Gio Urshela one?
Yes, Gio posted pics. Peraza's days are numbered. I think most logistic destination going to the Mariners. I mean,
Robbie also said rumors have been floating that Gio might come back. Tells me either Torres or Peraza could be moving.
Yeah.
So, and again, like I still don't. There's not room for Gio. In all honesty, like
no. That Gio was.
Where are you going to play
honestly, him? I enjoyed Gio much more than I ever enjoyed Donaldson, and I never liked the Donaldson trade.
I like Gio more than Donaldson too.
But I wouldn't bring Gio back because we have too many infielders currently.
Yeah, DJ has
we have DJ LeMahieu, even though DJ LeMahieu is probably going to be the everyday third baseman now.
And traded for this, when they traded Trey Sweeney, Yorbit Vivas is another 22-year-old,
and Vivas is another guy. So
and they just signed a utility man from Cuba yesterday. The Yankees did. JC is from Cuba. So
I honestly think the next big acquisition to the Yankees would probably be a pitcher, if anything.
Yeah.
So anybody putting an infielder or an outfielder on the Yankees I don't think is correct.
Yeah.
I think if they're going to make anything, it will be a pitcher.
I agree. I mean, exactly.
I mean,
If they move Torres or Peraza, it's going to be for pitching. So,
yeah.
like,
I mean,
this makes
honestly,
sense.
as I said earlier, I would trade Gleyber Torres. I don't think the Yankees will keep him after this year, which is the number one reason why I trade him.
Mhm.
And instead of getting draft picks, I would prefer getting someone who can help them immediately.
Yep. Yep. And again, Cameron, they're not going to trade Gleyber for Arraez because we talked about this earlier. Is that they won't pay Arraez right now, the Marlins, so they're not going to pay Gleyber Torres, who costs more than Arraez. So Torres is going to be a free agent after this year, so they're definitely not going to re-sign him. And if he has a good year, he's going to cost probably $25 million a year. So, and they definitely won't do that. So they're cheap, the Marlins. Unfortunately, they're cheap.
I mean, I remember at first before last year, we had who was the guy that Hector loved that got taken in free agency? He's always called him his friend.
Andres Chaparro.
Chaparro, yeah. I thought Chaparro could have been a good option in the infield, but the Yankees didn't choose to protect him in the 05 draft, and I knew he was going to be taken because he was always a top guy.
Mm-hmm. I can't dive with JC. I don't see Hader coming here.
No.
Hader, Neris, and Robert Stevenson, they'll cost half the price.
Hader is not coming to the Yankees, and I don't think he wants to even cut his hair.
Yeah, and remember, now that they're over the Cohen threshold, anything they spend is doubled.
Yeah,
instantly. The luxury tax is taxed dollar for dollar. So if Josh Hader makes $20 million a year, that becomes $40 million a year. So if you make $10 million a year, that becomes $20 million a year, and so on and so forth. That's just the way
that is also one reason why I would assume that Gleyber Torres is on the trade block because
he's going to make
lower their payroll, and they have people that can replace him.
Yep.
And I don't know why there has been a lot of people, especially in your chat and in Hector's chat, that are so unwilling to trade Gleyber. I would much prefer to have a defense first second baseman than an offense first second baseman, because a defense first second baseman can save you so many more runs.
Mm-hmm.
And your offense, you improve with Soto. That alone, Soto alone is enough for you to replace Torres with a defense first.
Yes, indeed. And the fact is,
you're not losing any offense, and you're gaining on defense.
We're not saying we don't like Torres, but the fact is, after this year, they're not bringing him back.
Yeah.
And if you want to get value for him, you have to trade him. That's the only way you're going to get value for him. So, and the value they could get right now is going to be better than the value they didn't get by giving him a QO, which is a qualifying offer.
And you never know how his season will be. He could fall off a cliff,
he could
lose his value or get hurt, miss 3 months like Judge did, and his value is nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if his value is good, maybe you trade him at the offseason and you call up you call up one of your Vivas.
And this is one reason why he has so much infield depth, because they could trade Torres in one trade and Peraza in another trade, and still have enough depth to fill the infield.
I mean, at this point, I would be more surprised if Gleyber Torres is not trade than is trade, because they stocked so much on infield.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's not
especially if you can get a number 5 starter for Gleyber Torres.
You want us to eat Gleyber Torres' contract and eat Giancarlo Stanton's money for Arraez and Luzardo?
That's crazy.
That's insane. And they wouldn't take that anyway.
Nobody in baseball will trade for Stanton.
No.
The Yankees
You know,
did
I
it.
appreciate. Kudos to you for wanting to move on from Stanton. I get it, but at this point, the Yankees would be eating $98 million of his contract, which is insane.
Yes,
So
and also starting next year, Marlins are paying $10 million. So
mhm.
not only are you eating $92 million, you're also costing yourself $10 million per year from the Marlins.
Yep.
That's why the Yankees aren't dropping Stanton. If someone is dumb enough to trade for his contract, then by all means trade him away.
Yeah.
But
And this is a good question, Craig. Okay, we plan on starting a rookie second baseman and second-year shortstop on a champ. Volpe's not going anywhere in shortstop. He's not going anywhere. He's a shortstop. We started Derek Jeter on a championship run as a rookie. It's gonna
look,
be the same thing with
I'm
Volpe.
I'm not against starting rookies if they play better. If out of spring training they have a rookie second baseman who plays better than any other than second baseman, I'm putting him at second base on opening day. You
Yeah,
have to go with your best guys on the field.
Yep.
Just because they're rookies doesn't mean they can sit on the sideline and go in third base.
And they can, again, they have versatility. They could play
Finally.
DJ second on occasion too. DJ could help, and give some versatility for second, third, first. So DJ can go back to being the utility guy.
Yeah.
They have guys like there's multiple positions in the infield. So we have the versatility here to withstand that.
Peraza,
And yes,
yeah.
Craig, I wouldn't be surprised if they bring in like an Adam Frazier or a Whit Merrifield or something like that. And again, to play second base on the cheap. I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. But they also have a veteran here already in DJ that can handle the job.
Yeah.
And again, he could play multiple positions. So they wouldn't necessarily have to bring in another veteran if they don't want to. So, but to repeat JJ, it's a good question too. At this point, a closer and a second starter. I think that's all the Yankees would need.
I think that they can do it. And honestly, if they still have Loizaga, I think Loizaga could probably at least start the season as the closer.
He could. He could.
If Loizaga is healthy, I think he can start the season as the closer. I wouldn't mind.
Don't be surprised if Castro makes like 3 or 4 more trades.
No, I would actually expect him to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I would be surprised if he doesn't. That's what I would be surprised.
Uncle Ted makes a good point too. Yes, they got Oscar Gonzalez from Cleveland. Yes, they did, off waivers. So he's the guy to hit the walk-off home run off Corey Kluber against Tampa Bay and Cleveland to put them in the wild card round. Like 2 years.
Who is Uncle Ted trading for J-Ram in a hypothetical trade? That is my question.
You're not going to get him without Dominguez or Jones. Don't even bother.
I know, but I'm asking him. His cost will be astronomical.
Yep.
You're going to have to empty your farm for him.
Yep.
And the Yankees don't want to do that.
Yep. And you're right. Marlins won't pay Tanner Scott either. He's another guy that the Yankees could look at too. You're right, because he's one of the 3 guys that are going to arbitration hearings: Tanner Scott, Jazz Chisholm, Luis Arraez. 3 guys going to arbitration hearings with the Marlins. Like I said, the Orioles have 5 going. So those are the teams that are cheap, not the Yankees. So it's with Merrifield. Yeah, Merrifield's older, but he's still productive. He's still productive, and he's a free agent. So, and you could probably get him on the cheap. But the Yankees might trade for somebody from the pen. They might sign somebody for the pen, or maybe both. H.O.s. They might do both. They really might do both. So, the possibilities to Uncle Ted, like Soto, Arraez, Judge, and J-Ram would murderers over ever. But if you're gonna do that, you're not gonna have Dominguez and Jones in there.
And I think Dominguez with Soto in the same lineup for the next 10 or 15 years, that will be more exciting than that lineup.
Well, yeah, because Arraez, I would imagine he won't be here after these. If he came here, he has 2 years of control. I don't see him being here after that. I just don't, because the Yankees have Jared Cerna and some of these other exciting infielders to bring up.
Jared Turner.
So
Yeah.
a lot of exciting rookie prospects.
I would be very interested if I ever talk with Dane Huber about Yankee prospects. That would be a very interesting conversation.
Mm-hmm. He has some interesting takes. He knows his stuff.
I've just been following Yankee farm system since, as I told you, 2006. So
You go, Mazel Tov, my man. Hope your family's doing well. Yeah, I've been following this guy. I mean, following everything they do, like forever. So, which is why this is one reason why I wanted to start this channel, so I could talk to like-minded people like yourself and other folks about the Yankees.
Well, I'm happy you give me this opportunity. I know Hector mentioned that I should start my own channel, but I'm happy enough to just join you and join Hector whenever I can, and I don't need to be compensated for it.
Yeah, well, you're welcome on here all the time. So, Uncle Ted, I get what you're saying, but even Ramirez doesn't guarantee us the World Series. So, I wish it did, but it can't, guarantee that.
I would if I had a fantasy lineup, I would have 6 guys who can get on base and 3 guys who can hit for power. That would be a fantasy lineup.
Well, break it down right now. 1 through 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. In each segment of 3, the Yankees could have a contact hitter and a power hitter in each segment of 3 right now. Okay, so that they haven't been able to do that. I don't remember the last time they've been able to do that.
Probably in 98 they had a pretty balanced lineup.
But yeah, and this is what I'm saying. If they had just gotten Soto, and I think it was JJ who made this point, you could have just walked him and Judge, knowing that the rest of the team wasn't going to drive them in, right? But now you got to deal with Verdugo, Torres, all these other guys, and it's so much more difficult for pitchers to do that now.
That is the biggest mistake the Yankees have done since 2017. They never built a lineup around Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
Have you seen a lineup around Aaron Judge since 2017? This is something that Cashman should have been thinking about when they in the 2017 offseason build a lineup that can run in Judge.
Now they're
I personally never want to see Judge batting second.
No, I don't either.
I would prefer Soto.
I'll put him fourth. Soto third. I'll put Soto third and Judge fourth. I would like Soto second, but apparently he doesn't want to bat second.
Well, so I would put Soto. I would do exactly that. I would put either 3-4 either way, because Soto can get on base more than Judge.
Oh yes, he can.
And Judge is every pitcher is scared to pitch to Judge. The only thing is, I would want someone in back of Judge so they don't pitch over him all the time.
Yeah, well, that's why you have Rizzo, and then you have Verdugo, and you have Torres, and you have all these other guys out there. You have a lot to deal with, so it'd be a heck of a lot better. But he was right when he made that point. And this one too, exactly, Carl. Like Carl, I know this is frowned upon to say, but it's saying Dominguez is largely an improvement. Okay, he's worked his way up, yes, but he's also come with. I think he's the most hyped international prospect ever. Okay, ever, and this is not an understatement. And with that comes an insane amount of expectations, right? And it's almost like committing a cardinal sin when I say Spencer Jones is rated higher than him in some categories. He is. I'm not making it up. But people are so enamored with Jason Dominguez, and I understand it. But Carl makes a perfect point here. He still has a lot to show us, yes. Okay? He does have great potential, but still needs much to. Yes, he does.
They will have they will have all of next season to show us what he really can do.
He's gotta come here, and 2 weeks is great, but we need a whole season. Yeah. We need you to be consistently productive the whole year, not 2 weeks.
And the one if you think about it, the him getting hurt may have been a good thing for the Yankees, because if he did come up and he had a great season, they may have demanded him in a Soto deal.
Probably. Yeah.
So that was the one benefit of Dominguez not getting hurt. He was overlooked in the Soto deal.
Yep. And now we have both of them here.
Yes.
You know, we're in a good spot now. We're in a good spot.
So if you have Jones and and Soto batting great next year in the lineup,
Uncle Ted, I would bet Luis Arraez lead off.
Arraez is the leadoff hitter.
I would go Arraez lead off, and then when Jason Dominguez is healthy, I'll bet Dominguez second, and then Soto third, then Judge fourth, and then you have, let's just say, Rizzo fifth, Gleyber Torres sixth, Stanton seventh, Verdugo eighth,
Volpe at ninth.
Volpe at ninth. That's a very scary lineup.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, I would either bat Volpe ninth or lead off, nowhere else.
Same.
Because
If you have Arraez here somehow, then I'm not leading off anybody but him. He's the leadoff guy.
If Volpe comes into spring training and figures out how to hit, I would think he could be a similar player to Ricky Henderson.
I'm telling you, Uncle Ted, I wouldn't say that yet. Dominguez and Jones won't come close to J-Ram's numbers right now. It's too early to tell.
But I will add something to that. The one thing I want to see from Volpe next year is more stolen bases.
Yeah, and a little bit more plate discipline, less strikeouts, like a better batting average, stuff like that.
Hopefully, with the new batting coach, the Yankees will be a lot more patient, because you saw. I remember, how many games did we see last year with the opposition player had 80 pitches in the 8th inning?
Yeah,
the Yankees have to remember how to make pitchers work and get the starter out in the 4th inning.
Yes, I want them at 100 pitches through the 4th and 5th inning.
Yes. That's the Yankees. That's when the Yankees were at their best. The starter pitcher never went beyond 5 innings.
Yep. And this is why it's such a good benefit now to have Juan Soto and his high on base percentage, and Alex Verdugo is contact bat. There's so much more plate discipline in this lineup now. They're going to draw more walks. They're going to draw more pitches. Yeah. So instead of almost automatic strikeouts from whether it be Franchi or McKinney or Bowers or Calhoun, those are guys who are almost automatic strikeouts all the time. Now it's not going to be that way. The pitchers are going to have to work harder to get through the lineup.
I don't even know why they went with the lineup they did last year. I
don't know. Yeah, I'm not even going to worry about it now. We got a better lineup this year, so
I'm not worried about it.
You know what I mean? So, but again, some of these folks need time to develop, and we've got to be smart with Dominguez. If he's that prize of a prospect, we got to give him an opportunity to get fully healthy and make sure he's not having another setback. We don't want to rush him, like Carl said.
No.
Last thing I want to do is rush Dominguez. It's just like the last thing the Phillies wanted to do was rush Bryce Harper. They got him back now, and he's back to being Bryce Harper. So, and they did the right thing, DHing him for the season, and then transitioning to first base so he wouldn't have to exhaust his arm. So, they did it right.
Well, you have to. I also hope that the medical staff is much better than last year. If someone is hurt or hurting or struggling, they immediately sit him down on the bench, and if needed, put him on the IL.
Yeah, I think so. The Yankees have enough depth now to withstand some of this stuff.
Because last year was just unacceptable.
Yeah. What's Uncle Ted saying? Yankees need infield help. They have ungodly amount of infield depth. The Red Sox will be dangerous. Devers can't defend, though. He's a terrible defensive player.
The Red Sox haven't really improved their team very much.
Yeah. And now they added, but they traded away Sale.
Yeah.
The Orioles haven't really done much. They've added Craig Kimbrell. The Blue Jays made a couple increments. They added IKF. They re-signed.
Well, the one benefit the Orioles have is they have the #1 farm system, so they
Farm and
probably
baseball,
will
too.
follow.
So if
Yeah.
anybody's going to overpay for Dylan Cease, it's probably going to be them.
Yeah, I
Not
don't
gonna
think.
get Jackson Holiday though, but they'll get an overpay.
No. And White Sox were asking for Holiday, from what I remember.
Yeah, they did ask for Jackson Holiday. They Orioles said no immediately, and rightfully so.
Yeah,
And
Holiday.
still, I mean Snell, or I wouldn't say Snell. I would say Scott Boras used the Yankees to drive up the price.
Yeah, Boris. That's his job. That's Boris's job.
Yeah. So he wouldn't be doing his job if he didn't do that. So I think it's important to remember not to blame the players for that, because they're not the ones that are negotiating. It's the agents that are negotiating with the GMs. But yeah, I mean Snell, wherever he goes, there's going to be a lot of expectation and a lot of money that goes with him. So there's no doubt about that. So medical staff to blame for Montez. Yeah, I mean to a degree, yeah, Darby JC, and medical staff in Oakland too, because they gave Yankees clean medical records. So I don't know what the hell happened there.
I don't know. And look, Montez. I never liked the Montez trade to begin with, but
Well, they didn't get Castillo, so
yeah, Castillo. I think Castillo would have been. They probably should have gone with Castillo, but back when I believe 2018, they had the deal for. They had a chance to get it.
That was a 1-for-1 deal for Castillo, and the Yankees turned it down.
Well, that Castillo turned it down, or the Yankees?
The Yankees. I think the Yankees turned it down. It was Castillo for Torres 1-on-1, 1-for-1.
And that deal that is the trade. I think if they make that trade, I wouldn't be surprised if they beat the Astros in 19.
Oh gosh, because the next time when Castillo was traded to the Mariners, the Reds asked for Volpe, Dominguez, Peraza, and Austin Wells. 1 through 4 they asked for the Yankees. That's what they asked for, the Reds. That's why they didn't trade Castillo.
I know, but the original trade in 2018, that's when they should have got him.
Yeah. But oh well, nothing you can do about it now.
I did like the when Hector did that one stream about trades they did and didn't do. He did it during the season. I enjoyed that stream.
Yeah, they had a couple. He's had some good streams, man. Like they almost traded for Randy Johnson in 1998.
Yes, I heard that and I don't know why they didn't, but
I don't remember.
The question is, if they traded for him in '98, would they have re-signed him because he was a free agent?
I don't know.
Because he won the Cy Young the next 4 years in the National League.
Yeah.
But if Johnson was on the 01 staff, I think it could have been a 5-peat. Like
probably.
Maybe they would have, maybe not a 5-peat, but a 4-peat.
4-peat, yeah.
They would have won in 01.
Yeah. I mean,
first of all, you wouldn't have to face Johnson in 01 because he's on your team.
Yep.
You just have to face
Cy Young Randy Johnson was almost impossible to deal with. So
yeah. I don't know why when he pitched for the Yankees, he was not as good as when he left and before he was the Yankee. I don't know why though.
I don't know either.
Maybe
Bobby Miller was putting out now Peraza and Ian Hamilton for either Brian Wu or Bryce Miller. If that's the case, they keep Gleyber Torres.
Who put that down?
Bobby Miller.
Yeah, Bobby Malone.
There's a lot of chatter right now, gang, with the Yankees to trade with the the Seattle Mariners, before starting. So I could definitely see a trade happening.
Mariners still exploring infield. I mean, the question is, are the Mariners interested in a guy like Torres?
Well, he would represent a more win now bat for them over Peraza. So if they want to compete, Gleyber Torres is a better guy for them to get. And they're also interested in relievers. They need relievers, and the Yankees have a boatload of them. So I think Torres and Torres and Hamilton would be a better trade than Peraza and Hamilton. But again, if you can get it for Peraza and Hamilton, you do that.
I mean, what do you think would be a hypothetical trade between Mariners, Torres, and Hamilton return?
What's the return again?
A return from the Mariners for Torres and Hamilton.
It would have to be like Bryce Miller.
Just Bryce Miller?
Bryce Miller. I mean, I would try to get what else would I? You're not going to get 2 starters.
No, but you're probably going to get maybe Bryce Miller and something with him. But
what?
I don't know.
They need relievers. We don't. Well,
so
we're not going to get Munoz, Andres Munoz.
Your hypothetical trade is a 2-for-1, basically.
Yeah, because he has 5 years of control, Bryce Miller.
I would do that deal. I think that deal would be perfect.
Yeah, and Brian
Miller for Torres and Hamilton.
That's it.
Yeah, I would do that deal. I would make that call right now and say, this is my deal.
I wouldn't be surprised if they do that in the next couple of days. Or Brian Wu. Wu or Miller. One of those guys.
I don't know very much about Wu. I haven't looked him up.
Wu's younger as well. Let me pull him up here too, Brian Wu.
But I've just been saying this for a couple of weeks now. I think Mariners and the Yankees, and possibly the Marlins and the Yankees, are the 2 most logical teams to trade
with. Yeah. Brian Wu's 23 years old.
23. So
yep. He's got 5 years of control. Well, actually, maybe 6 because he only threw 87 innings last year.
Well,
so he might have exhausted the clock. So
Logan Gilbert is going to cost you more than just Gilbert Torres. Yeah.
Hang on one second. I dropped my computer.
I saw. Yeah, I don't think they will trade Gilbert, but Gilbert would be a nice piece.
Yeah, and Gilbert or George Kirby.
Yeah.
So I don't know why my screen is.
Is your camera was shut off? Maybe.
There we go. Sorry about that, gang. I dropped my laptop cord got stuck in my foot.
No, the technical difficulties are on Tat's stream.
Yep. Tat's always having tech difficulties, yeah. And we definitely need a medical life, really. Yeah, we do. We'll wait. Snell has not signed yet, Alex. He has not signed. But no. Brian Wu, 87 innings pitched, 93 strikeouts. He was 4-5 in 18 games. Now, let me check Brian Wu's I'm going to check his contract because with that amount of innings pitched, he might not have gained a year of service time. I think there's a certain amount of innings pitched that you have to accumulate to gain a year of service time. Now, contract. Yeah, he still has 3 years of pre-arb, and he's got 6 years of control, Brian Wu. 6.
Yeah, he was drafted in 2021.
Yep, in the 6th round, 174th overall by Cal Poly. So yeah, he's got 6 years of control. Bryce Miller has 5.
Last year was his rookie year.
Yep. And since there wasn't enough innings pitched, he didn't get credit for his service time. So that's a net benefit for the Yankees. So Brian Wu might have an edge over, but he has less innings pitched under his belt too. Bryce Miller, his innings pitcher more significant. So if they want an innings eater,
maybe he will be a project for the pitching coach.
Yeah, probably. Trade for Ric Flair. In case Soto walks, I don't think he will, but who replaces him in center field? Well, Soto's not going to be center field anyway, but it'd be Jones, most likely. Or you'd have Jones. I mean, Verdugo might walk too. And if he does, then you have Jones in center and Dominguez in left.
Yeah.
And there you go.
But look, this MLB trade rumors article has me now intrigued about making a deal with the Mariners.
The Mariners, yeah. They have a lot of controllable year pitchers,
Yeah.
And Braxton Garrett over Luzardo, I'd probably do that too. Luzardo's got a pretty significant injury history. Braxton Garrett really doesn't. So that matters.
Yeah, I honestly do not want Luzardo. He scares me too much.
I don't either.
He reminds me too much of Carl Pavano.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want. He also reminds me of Jarrett Wright. He's another guy they signed at the same time, and he was always hurt. So I really don't want pitchers that have a very severe injury history.
Uncle Ted's asking me to look up Joe Payamps, the Milwaukee Brewers reliever. He was 7-5 with a 2.55 ERA. He's 29 years old. Let's look up his contract here. I mean, with that type of performance, let's see him. Look at his contract details. Here we go. Contract details. What do we got here, Joel Payamps? Contract. Well, he's got 3 years of ARB left, so he's got 3 years of control before he's a free agent. Payamps. So he could be another guy. He could be a guy for relief too. I don't know if he's available, but you'd probably get him for less than you would get Devin Williams, though. So somebody to look for. Thank you, Uncle Ted. I appreciate that.
Either way, I think the Yankees are going to make one more trade at least this off before spring training starts.
I agree.
And I think it could come as early as next week.
Yeah, and I don't know. My gut's telling me it's going to be with Seattle.
Yeah.
It just makes too much sense.
Seattle are the Marlins, but Seattle it's probably now my number one choice.
Mm-hmm. Like I'm looking now. I'm looking now to see if anything. Oh, the Kansas City Chiefs beat the Dolphins. Looks like they did.
Yeah, they won. I think it was 26-7, something like that.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah, so it looks like. Yeah, I would expect some activity here. I would expect some activity over the next couple days, gang. John Cena. Seattle have the Yankees can use. Seattle has a boatload of pitchers, Angelo. Pitching depth, uncontrollable pitching depth. And they need infield bats and they need bullpen help.
I don't think we should mention wrestling here because we might bring up the he who not be named.
No.
The guy who always talks about wrestling.
Oh yeah, I know. I don't like we can always see all these deals that can be done. Teams that are willing to trade. We haven't done anything. Well, Garen, I mean, just because they might be willing to trade doesn't mean they're willing to trade with the Yankees. And we have done, Garen, I don't know why you say we haven't done anything. We've been one of the busiest teams in the offseason.
Yeah, we haven't made any big splashes or big fancy.
We've addressed our biggest need already. Contact hitting inside. We've done it the first week of the offseason. So it looks like they haven't done anything in a long time. But they've gotten infield depth. They've gotten bench depth, outfield depth. They've improved their bullpen. They've done a lot. But, for some reason, so many folks think that the only moves that matter are the big ones.
Well, maybe they haven't. They needed to watch Yankee Hot Stove. I still watch Yankee Hot Stove occasionally, and they talk about all the Yankee moves.
Yeah, man. They go deep, man. They go deep.
I'm probably one of the few people that still get the Yes Network. That's not from streaming.
Yeah, no kidding. I don't get it now. No.
Yeah, I still have a cable subscription.
Nice, dude. That's good.
I mean, it's expensive. I considered getting rid of some of my channels and just not paying all this money, but it's something.
It's what you enjoy. It's what you enjoy. Chris the Flash is here. What's up, man?
Hi,
Yeah.
hi, Chris.
Questionable, mediocre shit. That's your opinion, Johnny. That's your opinion. If you're referring to the Yankee moves, I mean, Bader.
Well, I think Soto was definitely a big move. Soto was the biggest move they could have made. I mean, obviously, I was
There was nobody bigger than Juan Soto
no,
in the whole game.
but the one thing that will surprise me that next year they won't. It will surprise me if they don't sign one Japanese player, especially with a new Japanese owner. I'll be surprised if next year they don't sign one Japanese player.
Yeah, and maybe they'll wait for Murakami. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe they're just waiting for Murakami or Sasaki.
I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. We'll
So
definitely see.
and Murakami, the one thing good about Murakami is that Rizzo's contract will be up, so he's going to have a place to play.
True. True.
So,
No Snell news right now, Krista Flash. I
no,
wouldn't expect Snell news for the Yankees, man. Honestly.
no, I don't think Snell is coming to the Yankees.
No, that's not. I don't think that's happening. But we got Mark Feinsand reporting the Yankees are the front runners for Hector Neris for the closer position. And there's some talk about Yankees trading a Yankee trade with the Mariners, and potentially Wandy Peralta coming back too. So we'll see.
Yeah. So in the immediate future, my guess would be a Neris signing and a trade.
I think so. Anthony was asking the next move for the Yankees, either a trade or like a closer signing, whether it be Neris or Robert Stevenson.
Well,
I expect one of those moves.
that's basically similar to what I just said.
Yeah. And Soto, yeah, I mean, Soto's got the biggest news. I mean, Soto won't get the big news for Soto will be getting him extended. So,
Well, Yankees do not have a history of extending their players mid-season. I would be surprised if they made the exception for Soto, but if they did it, I wouldn't complain.
Yeah. Diver, Sasaki not coming to New York. I could care less if he doesn't come here. He comes here, comes here. But I could care less. And I don't see him.
I would at this point. I think I would prefer Murakami.
Yeah, me too. And he'll be posted before Sasaki, most likely. So
yeah, so maybe Murakami. The last time we had an exciting Japanese bat was
Hideki
Matsui, and he was huge everywhere.
Yep.
So the Yankees might benefit from a guy like Murakami.
Yeah. Ben, the Yankees gave Soto $31 million. They spent basically $79 million on their arbitration players on the other day. They agreed with everybody.
They spent it was just under 80 million.
Yeah, I think it was 79.
I think I texted you the final numbers.
You did. So Monty's not coming back to the Yankees either. Matthew's like,
no. Monty, if he goes anywhere, my guess would be in Boston. I would say Boston if they want to spend. If not, Texas, Boston or Texas.
Mm-hmm. And Craig Murakami also plays third base, so something to keep in mind.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have to play. He wouldn't have to play first base. Matthew, I can't see Montgomery coming here. He's very likely headed back to Texas. They're just waiting to get their TV deal resolved.
Yeah, as I said, I think Texas is the number one place, but followed by possible Boston because of his wife.
Yep.
But I'm surprised that Boston hasn't really made a big splash.
Yeah, they're trying to cut payroll. So Billy Clemens is in the house. And went out 2 out of 3 falls with some coax. Oh, dude, I hear you, man. We lost power the other day because we had this huge storm and wind and falling trees and
there was a lot of flooding on the Sawmill Parkway.
Yep.
I couldn't even drive up the Sawmill Parkway when I was going there on Wednesday.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous, that storm. It was ridiculous. So, but yeah, John, I mean, I'm personally, I'm of the opinion that Montgomery and Snell are not. Just move on from them. And if they somehow come here, it'd be a pleasant surprise. But I can't see it. At this point, I can't see that much addition to payroll. Because again, whatever they do gets doubled immediately because they're over the Cohen threshold.
Yeah, it's more likely they make a trade
Yep.
and
And
they
you
slash.
you move Torres, you're slashing 14 million, and you're back under the Cohen threshold.
Yeah, so that's another reason why I expect Torres to be traded, because to slash payroll and he can be replaced.
Yep.
I know a lot of fans love him, but the Yankees come first over one player.
He's
one player doesn't make the Yankees.
He's underrated to a degree. He's underappreciated to a degree as well. So,
but I think his Torres defense is a liability.
I agree too. Amen, Kyle. Same here, man. I hope they get Neris too. Me too, man. Yeah, Terry, I can't see them getting Snell now. Once he turned their deal down, I think that was it. You know, and yeah, I think Monty to Texas makes the most sense. Yeah, I'm with you too, Calenza. Yeah, Bally Sports. Yeah, exactly. This thing is, they've come to an agreement with Amazon for streaming and all this stuff, and the Rangers now have some more clarity on their finances. So, but yeah, man. So stay tuned, gang, because like I said, the Yankees are at 42 on the 40-man. They have to make moves. They can't go into the season with more, over 40 on the 40-man. You can't. So they're going to unload some players, and they're in the running for a reliever and a trade for a starter. So they're going to be adding 2 players. So if they don't make any moves until that happens, they're at 44 now. So they've got to unload 4 people just to get back under the 40. So they're not done. So, and not every move might be sexy, but a lot of folks in here are fired up about Brian Wu, right? Bryce Miller, rightfully so. So not everything has to be a sexy name. You know what I mean? And well, yeah. Snell, I mean, I think, I think Boris might have done him wrong here. Snell. He might have done him a disservice, but because he's now asking for 9 years, 270. And that's,
yeah. I honestly, I wouldn't mind. It wouldn't surprise me at this point if Snell signs a low contract and goes back. Might even go back on the market next year.
could be.
I think Boris may have messed his chances to getting a large deal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing. My guess is he's bumping it to 9, hoping they compromise in between at 7. Instead of trying for 7, let the compromise be 6. He's trying to squeeze that extra year out for Snell.
Well, look, Snell is what, 31?
31.
So you're just coming off of a Cy Young at 31, and the team wants to offer you 7 years, and you want 9. You can't expect to have that same year in year 7 as you had last year. There's nobody is like there's only a few players that play well. Not very many people are like Mariano Rivera who can pitch the same way he did when he's 29 as when he's 41.
Like they're Hall of Famers. You talk about Greg Maddux, Randy Johnson,
yes, Greg Maddux, Randy Johnson, Roger Clemens, Nolan Ryan.
Yeah, these are the people you're talking about, and these are the absolute best of the best of all time.
Yeah,
so, that's
not very many players pitched at the top level still past age 35.
True. Kyle, I don't think we get Gio because I don't think we have any room for him. But
No,
would I be
no.
surprised if they got him? No, but I just don't see where they're going to play him. So
No, I think Gio is
sentimental favorite, but I would have
is
doesn't make any point.
a player of players past.
Mm-hmm.
Player in the past.
Agreed. And Clemenza, you just said because Cashman does some of his best work with the not so sexy names: Chacon, Tanyan Sturts, Aaron Small. Like a lot of these guys, not sexy names, but they were very pretty. Scott Brocious.
Scott
These
Brocious,
are all El Duque. These are all Canyon.
I think he was. Isn't he the one that got Chuck Knobloch?
He got Chuck Knobloch. He got, he got Brocious. He got so many of these guys. Jerry Hairston Jr. Like he got Ichiro. Like he got so many guys. So, and it's it's different now. It's different now. But
I mean, the one trade that he didn't like is the Lowell trading Mike Lowell.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
That's I think I heard that's what Cashman's biggest regret in trading.
Mike Lowell. He was a gem in Boston.
Yeah, and he was a top. He was a very good minor league player.
Yep. Yes, he was. We haven't heard yet that Wandy's going back to the Yankees. Matthews. We heard talks earlier that they were talking about. Some people wanted him to bring him back, as well as Hector Neris. But there's no guarantee that it's happening yet. Would I do Jones, Hampton, Schmidt, Peraza, Pereira, Warren, Arraez, and Rice for Jose Ramirez and Clase and Shane Bieber? No.
No, I wouldn't do that. That's way too much for. No. I think Hampton can be a very good player. I wouldn't be surprised if Hampton makes the starting rotation sometime next year.
He could. Mm-hmm.
And you need to remember, pitchers always get hurt, especially Yankee pitchers in recent years. You need players like Hampton in your minor league system. So when your starters like Nestor gets hurt, for example, you have an immediate replacement.
That's true. But before I wrap this up, Billy, any more chatter on Snell? No, well, except that Scott Boras now asking for 9 years, $270 as of today. And as far as we know, Krista Flash, they're not in on Hader. And there isn't a chance in the world they would do Hader and Snell. Because their payroll would be like $500 million then. So they're not going to do that. Because if you haven't heard, their payroll right now is about 306, right? They're taxed at dollar for dollar. So if you bring in Snell at 30, that's 336. Their luxury tax penalty right now is $48 million. So you're going to add $30 million to that too. So that's $78 million. So the 336 and 78 is what, $414 million. Just if you bring Snell by himself. That's the math. Okay. And I happen to be a math nerd, so I've actually done the calculations. It's pretty damn close.
I was always good with numbers myself.
And the same thing with Hader. Like, if you pay him $20 million, he's going to cost $40 million this year. So
every dollar is doubled.
Yeah, every dollar is doubled over the Cohen threshold. So, and that's just the way that it is. So, Yankees, this is one reason why it looks like they want to trade Torres and get back under the Cohen threshold and maybe, use some of that money to sign a reliever. And now they've got a starting pitcher and a reliever, and they could be done with their offseason. So, and then that would be an A+ offseason if they did that. A++. With all the stuff that they've done already. Right. Why haven't the Mets jumped on Snell? It doesn't sound like they're going to be investing big money this year. They're going to be doing incremental players.
Honestly, I guess one of the last points I'll make on this stream is I wouldn't be surprised if they used the number 5 starter use spring training to get the number 5 starter in regards to a competition between Warren, Beater, and maybe Hampton.
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
If one of those guys break out in spring training, You got your
Yep.
number 5 starter.
Yep. Yep, man. They're all highly touted prospects.
And they're all paid the minimum.
Mm-hmm. Your 5 starters on the cheap. And potentially your 4 starters on the cheap if they get Bryce Miller or Brian Wu. So you could have 2 of these guys on the cheap for the next 6 years or whatever. So that's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
Pretty darn good. So, but I want to thank you all for coming on.
Thank you.
I appreciate Jonathan. I want to thank you for coming on. Give me your insights. Your insights are always valuable and appreciated.
I'm always available.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for everybody that came on. Hit the like button on the way out. If you haven't subbed, hit the sub button on the way out. I greatly appreciate all of you. I thank you. And obviously, if anything, and I'll do a one last minute check here. One final check to see if anything has happened. Because that's what I did the other day. I was putting out a video, and then freaking news broke that Marcus Strowman signed.
Yeah. I think
That's
I
it.
was in that chat.
Yeah, and then I went live like 5 minutes later, and that chat went like.
I'm always looking for your picks online. Your takes online.
I appreciate it, man. So nothing right now, gang. But there's a lot of chatter right now for Gio, Gleyber Torres, Oswald Peraza, trades. Who else here? Yeah, that's what we're getting right now. That's I can't see anything happening late tonight, but if it does, I'm gonna come out and put it out. So yeah, my word on that. So that's why I always say to subscribe and hit the notification button. That way you'll know when it happens. But peace and love to all of you. Jonathan, thank you again. Have a great night, and I will talk to y'all on the other side. See you guys.